ask you the same, how you're feeling in terms of fulfillment.
Like right now, or sort of like what my goals for fulfillment are.
Well, I think I was talking more like as far as like social integration.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
I know, right? I know this is a very particular time, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just curious to hear what it's like to be you.
Yeah, I've been feeling even apart from the pandemic, I felt sort of not very socially integrated, and then that was sort of furthered or exacerbated by sort of having to be alone, not alone, but like be in my house like most of the time and not see people. Sort of going back to the college thing, I think that college has been a significant part of that because at least for me, the end of high school just felt very sudden, and like I didn't love high school or anything. I don't think most people do. Well, some people. But for me, it just felt very sudden, very abrupt, and sort of like launching to adulthood. Just a lot of very sudden, very drastic changes in sort of, and like what we've already talked about, like deciding what you want to do with your life or financially, but also socially. Like most of the people that I went to high school with that I used to talk to on a regular basis, I haven't talked to since high school. And a lot of and most of those people went to like schools all over the country. And so that has been sort of socially isolating, and now not going to school in person. I haven't gone to school in person since high school. That has been sort of socially isolating, not meeting new people, and then also not working and not meeting new people there. I feel like sort of my old community I was sort of cut off from, and I haven't had the opportunity to develop a new one.
Wow. I really the only words that come to me is that sucks. That 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 these kind of restrictions came along at this time.
Yeah.
That you're young and it's very important. It's like arguably more important to socialize now in this time of like freedom and school and stuff like that, or what should be that, than it
Mhm.
is to learn academically.
Yeah.
So to have a piece of that taken away, you will get it back. I'm, extremely confident. I have no doubt. Ugh, it's just when I put myself in the shoes of anybody in college right now, it's just I feel so upset. Um,
Yeah.
are you? Do you feel like there's just nothing you can do, or you feel angry about it, or
um I don't think there's nothing I could do about it, but I'm not sure what exactly to do about it. And I've been busy enough with school and stuff that I haven't sort of made an effort to be like intentionally active about it, because like if when you're working or going to school or whatever, you not like you're forced to see people, but you're forced to see people and
Mhm.
interact with them. And if you're doing all of that from home, then you're not only are you not meeting new people, you're not seeing the people you're used to, and maybe you don't have sort of like I was saying with my high school friends, like you don't have a way of communicating with, like you have a way of communicating with them obviously, but it's not the way that you're used to, and it might be awkward to like randomly call somebody, or like obviously depending on your relationship with them. And what was the question?
um, well, I guess if you're angry, I think I had asked,
Okay,
are you
yeah.
angry about the situation you're in?
I'm generally not an angry person, so I would say no, largely because there isn't like a like you could be like angry at like society or like angry at like coronavirus, but I don't know, I don't find those sorts of anger to be productive. And those are like singular things, but they're not tangible things, and your anger at them and even perhaps your efforts to change them aren't going to be very productive, most likely. So I'd say I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. um, if
You
that
know,
makes
it's interesting.
sense.
I've heard people say things like that. I'm sorry to interrupt. That it's not productive to be angry, but you can't help being
Yeah.
angry when you, right? I mean, like, even if it's not productive, or
Yeah.
can you help it? Then
Um,
you gotta do that.
that's a good point. I think it's perhaps just because I don't tend to be an angry person,
Hmm.
that maybe I would be angry at society, or angry at like the institution of college, or angry at coronavirus if I were the sort of person to be angered in general. But I don't know. I just feel like I'm just not, and that's not even a very intentional thing to not be angry about things. And maybe it's just more of an internal anger. And I don't even know that I would call it anger, but yeah, yeah. I wouldn't say I'm angry about my situation right now. I think it's unfortunate, and I wish it were different. But yeah, I find I don't generally get angry about things that I can't change, which yeah, sort of like you were saying, seems kind of contrary to perhaps the more traditional concept of anger, or how anger manifests in most people. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that before in reference to my anger or lack thereof. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, because on the one hand, I'm like, well, that's very healthy. That's wonderful. On the other hand, I'm like, man, I get angry at things I can't control all the time. That's where I get
Yeah,
most angry. It's like,
yeah,
why can't I do this thing? I just want to do it, or I can't achieve this, or whatever it is. And yeah, I mean, it's a slippery slope. You don't want to be angry for like too long, but if you don't allow yourself to be angry, then that still goes somewhere inside, and you don't want that to happen because then it morphs and changes and all that stuff. That's
yeah.
been my experience. Do you get angry? Period. A lot, or I mean, at all? Have you been angry in the
Um,
last 60 days?
um, I don't think anyone who has been watching me for the last 60 days would have told you that I was angry, if that makes sense. But I think that I am angry not infrequently. But again, that's usually directed at things that I feel like I can change.
Mm. So it motivates you.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would even call it motivation, but I don't have a whole lot of data points on me getting angry at things, honestly. So it's kind of hard to say. Yeah, like I said, I guess I'm not a very angry individual. And when I do feel like I am angry at things, I often won't express it. And I feel, and usually that's in like interpersonal relationships. If I'm upset about something, and often I just don't know how to express that, or whether or not the other person will be receptive to that, or whether or not that's a productive way to try to resolve interpersonal conflict.
Hmm.